че
Добре.
НПК ще бъде,
Окей.
а мисля, че няма да се полага.
Стига да не го закрие така.
Техническа проба 1-2.
Ще си ги вземеш твоите, нали?
Аз ще ги взема.
Да, само то да остане.
Thank you. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Distinguished Prime Minister Roshan Zhelyadskov, distinguished Christine Lagarde, Chairperson of President of the ECB, Mrs. Kristalina Georgieva, Mr. Valdis Dombrovskis, dear Mrs. Temenushka Petkova, Minister of Finance, Mr. Dimitar Radev, Governor of the Bulgaria National Bank, and distinguished Mr. Gramenia, Managing Director of the European Stability Mechanism, Excellencies, Vice Premiers, Ministers, dear guests, friends, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the conference Bulgaria on the doorstep of the Eurozone, marking not only the final of a very important process, but also the beginning of a new strategic stage for Bulgaria and Europe. We are living in a world of turbulent transformation. Global chains are rearranged, technologies change borders, industries, and human fate. Energy insecurity turn into economic factor and stability in strategical resource. In this new world, success is not owned by the biggest necessarily. It belongs to the ones who have vision, adaptivity, discipline, and bravery. The European Commission lined out a vision for a more connected and more sovereign Europe with more investment, better market, and common tools for growth and security. But Europe cannot be only a market. It can be, and it should be, a force, economic, industrial, technological, and moral. Mario Draghi's report urges us Europe to think and act larger scale and mobilize new resources for the market, investment, and innovation. Enrico Letta's report gave us a clear message: without a strong internal market and doing away with barriers, we cannot do a well-functioning capital and industrial union. And this vision is becoming reality with initiatives like Investment Plan for Europe 2.0, European Sovereignty Fund, Scale Up EU Fund, and Strategic Technologies for Europe Platform, STEP. All initiatives that direct resources of Europe to strategic technologies, clean energy, sustainable production, and innovation. Europe, like nowhere until now, invest in itself in order to protect its model and citizens and stay a global factor, a voice of stability in an insecure world. And this is the message. It is not fear, but confidence, unity, and long-term perspective. In this context, adopting euro is not a technical act. It is a strategic choice. This is part of the wider strategy of Europe of trust, predictability, and solidarity. Bulgaria is part of this plan. And after years of efforts, our country is on the final leg of the Eurozone. Our road was not easy, but it was focused. And today we can say clearly Bulgaria is ready not only to accept the euro, but to contribute with confidence, stability, and ambition for growth to the common future of Europe. But introducing the euro is not the end, but the beginning of a greater responsibility for deeper integration. What are we going to do after that? The euro is a bridge between generations, between economies, between future and the past. Bulgaria, it doesn't change its currency only. It changes its dimension from periphery to the heart of Europe. Ladies and gentlemen, I have the honor now to invite our official guests to open the conference and their vision for the future of Bulgaria and the Eurozone. I am going to give the floor now to the Prime Minister Rosen Zelezkov. You have the floor, sir.
Dear Madam Georgieva, dear Madam Lagarde, dear Mr. Gramenia, Mr. Dombrovskis, Madam Petkova, Mr. Radev, dear colleagues, dear guests, dear friends, it is my great honor and pleasure to open today's conference dedicated to one of the most important stages of the European path of Bulgaria, notably the adoption of the euro and the entry into the Eurozone. As Lily mentioned, our goal is not only to join, our goal is to be a part, an integral part of the Eurozone. Your presence here shows the strong European solidarity and partnership that have always been an integral part of our common joint project that is the United Europe. Bulgaria is at the doorstep of an important to its historical development moment. Starting from the 1st of January, our country will become part of the countries, the family of countries that have adopted the euro as their own currency. Own, not foreign currency. A currency that unites more than 340 million citizens in more than 20 European countries. Euro is not just a currency. It is a strategic choice that strengthens the position of Bulgaria in the heart of a united and strong Europe. To us, this is a full-fledged participation in the European economic architecture, higher level of trust in the investments, lower expenditures and expenses for citizens and businesses alike, greater financial stability and protection from external shocks, and support for increased competitiveness and economic development. The 8th of July this year will remain in the contemporary history of Bulgaria as the day that the Council of the European Union adopted the 3 legally binding acts regulating the adoption of the euro in Bulgaria and the joining its accession to the Eurozone. This decision had significant political and public importance. This is a token of appreciation for the years of efforts of both political elites in Bulgaria, of the societal development in Bulgaria. It is a decision that proves the trust that exists in Bulgarian institutions and the Bulgarian economy. As you know, this path was not and is not easy. It is not and was not short. It started from the accession of Bulgaria to the European Union when Bulgaria took the obligation to become a part of the Eurozone. Ever since 2018, there was a significant impulse for Bulgaria to join the Eurozone, undertaking actions to overcome long-lasting problems. Reforms were not easy, but were necessary not only to be prepared for the Eurozone, but to improve the institutional and market environment in Bulgaria. Bulgaria is a better place to live and to do business, thanks to this process precisely. In June 2020, with the entry of the Bulgarian left to the banking union and the monetary union in the ERM2, we outlined the footsteps, the beginning. But there was increased coordination necessary between businesses, citizens, the Bulgarian National Bank, the banking sector, and all fields and levels of industry working together. And today, on the doorstep of our entry into the Eurozone, Bulgaria is prepared in all aspects, thanks to this work and these efforts. In terms of legislative framework, logistical preparation, payment mechanisms, information and awareness for citizens and consumers, all of this has begun on time and is already bearing its fruits. The success in the introduction and adoption of the euro depends not only on the institutions, but predominantly on the most important component, notably the trust of citizens. This trust has been undermined throughout the years, unfortunately, by anti-European political players that today exist in every member state. Unfortunately, in Bulgaria, they have succeeded in making part of the Bulgarian society mistrustful of the euro, including through fear. Still, the majority of Bulgarians wholeheartedly choose the European path, the alternatives of this choice are multifold, but the political importance is only redistributed. There is no increasing public support in this matter. And I firmly believe that very soon the concerns will decimate and disappear. When we began, there was more Euroscepticism, whereas nowadays, after this awareness campaign, we are 7 percentage points higher in favor of trust. Ever since we started and still until today, the position of the Bulgarian business has been and remains in support of this step. The moment we received the precise date of the introduction of the euro and have been actively explaining to citizens what to expect, trust has been growing. Even skeptics have seen that their fears are unfounded and unreasonable, and this has been thanks to the awareness raising with 20 percentage points for all Bulgarian citizens, which has been thanks to the efforts of the central bank, the Bulgarian institutions, and the banking sector. According to sociological data and opinion polls, Bulgarians are expecting to see tangible benefits in the midterm and long term. For the businesses, for the citizens, and for the government, this is an opportunity that needs to go hand in hand with decisive measures. Now, at the doorstep, we can confidently say that we are prepared for the smooth transition to the adoption of the euro, and we believe in the European future of Bulgaria. I firmly believe that starting from the 1st of January 2026, Bulgaria will greet and welcome the new currency as a symbol of wisdom, of ripeness and development. I know that the euro is not a goal in its own self, but a responsibility that we're taking on, an opportunity for achieving long-term goals to improve the prosperity and stability in every member state and of the Eurozone as a whole. The title of this conference, Bulgaria at the Doorstep of the Eurozone, is symbolic. We will very soon make the decisive step across this doorstep and will enter an even more and better ordered home in the euro that demands efforts from all participants. And I would like to reassure you that Bulgaria will put in all efforts necessary in our joint work. And I would like to reassure and thank the Bulgarian experts and the international experts for their vision and work. We see that with joint will and efforts, Bulgaria can achieve success together in a united Europe. Thank you, and I wish you fruitful discussions at the conference because Bulgaria is ready for its future. Thank you.
Благодаря ви много, уважаеми господин.
Thank you very much, dear Prime Minister, for the clear vision, the perspectives, for the commitment, for the persistence and leadership with which Bulgaria has been making its way along this strategic path. And now I have the pleasure and honor to give the floor to Madam Kristalina Georgieva, the Managing Director of the IMF, to share her opinion and view of the global geopolitical and economic context and the role of Bulgaria at the eve of our accession to the Eurozone. Good morning, everybody. It is a great pleasure and honor for me to be here with you today, dear Mr. Prime Minister, dear Madam Minister, Mr. Governor, to all Bulgarians gathered here in this hall. We have something to celebrate on the 1st of January together. Out of respect to our international guests and in the spirit of the Bulgarian warm welcome, I will continue in English.
Dear Christine, dear Valdis, dear Pierre, friends, we are gathering in Sofia on a happy occasion. At the cusp of Bulgaria's adoption of the euro, and as the head of the IMF, the institution that played a crucial role in setting up the currency board in the late 90s, and as a Bulgarian, I celebrate this hard-won achievement. On January 1st, 2026, Governor Radev, who has already been attending ECB monetary policy meetings for some time, will obtain the right to vote at the ECB Governing Council, not only on monetary policy, but also on matters such as banking supervision, financial stability, payment systems, and the issuance of euro currency, including the digital euro. Even if most of ECB business is conducted by consensus, rarely by a show of hands. I actually don't know whether, Christine, you ever had a show of hands. The fact that Bulgaria is now fully empowered to help shape decisions that affect the euro area, and through the global role of the euro, the functioning of the international monetary system is very significant. So when we wish each other Happy New Year on January 1st, it will indeed be a happy moment for Bulgaria's monetary policy journey. From the painful memories of the hyperinflation. How many in this room remember hyperinflation? Raise your hands. I sure do. To the discipline of the currency boards, first to the Deutsche Mark and then to the euro, from surrendering monetary policy sovereignty to the Bundesbank and then to ECB, Bulgaria will now get to keep its price stability and take a seat at the decision-making table. Entry into the euro will go down in history as a key milestone for Bulgaria, ranking alongside the EU accession in 2007. So what should we expect and what more needs to be done? To get a better sense of what is coming in the months ahead, we can look at the experience of the last country to adopt the euro, Croatia. It made its leap in 2023. And what happened? Rating agencies upgraded Croatia's sovereign ratings by multiple notches, pointing to the reduction of currency risk as well as the newly gained access to European financial backstops. Croatia's sovereign borrowing costs went down. That is, of course, something everybody there, especially the business community, enjoyed a lot, because private sector and households benefited. Tourism in Croatia, already flourishing, got an added boost as visitors were able to take advantage of the convenience of not having to convert their their currency into unfamiliar national currency. We also have to recognize Croatia did experience an inflationary rounding effect on prices upon euro adoption. It was a one-off price level jump of some 0.2 to 0.4 percentage points, less than people feared, and in line with euro accession experiences elsewhere. Even if Croatia was the first adopter during a period of high inflation. Bulgaria, in comparison, is more than ready for the euro because of our long-standing experience with our currency board. and because of the steps we are taking. Dual currency pricing in place ahead of January 1st, price monitoring underway, and a nationwide left to euro information campaign to help people and businesses get ready for what is going to come. Unsurprisingly, and the Prime Minister talked about it, there is some nostalgia. We Bulgarians would lie if we say, oh, we don't really care that the left is gone. What is more concerning is the politicization of that nostalgia. But let's call it as it is. Bulgaria benefited from European integration and will benefit further from joining the euro area. But the Bulgarian Recovery and Resilience Plan with European Commission is upgraded. We see tangible progress in reforms. We also see economic momentum that is strong. Unemployment is at record low, and real incomes are rising. And what is so important for Bulgaria is the discipline to keep our macro in great shape. Our public debt, Bulgarian public debt, is only 24% of GDP. Compare this to the EU average of 65%. And this discipline gives Bulgaria room for counter-cyclical fiscal policy should another shock hit. And since I was invited to say what is happening in the world, this is what is happening in the world. It is a world of more frequent and severe shocks. It is a world of major transformations, from geopolitics to technology to demography. And it is a world in which, when you have sound foundations, you are much more likely to succeed. So when I look into the future for Bulgaria, I am pretty confident that it would be a case like Croatia, when euro adoption adds value to the country, including, I do expect, more people to come to our beautiful beaches and travel around the country, spending their euros for the benefit of our economy. But I don't want to dance my way into a street party. What I want to do is talk about what more needs to be done. First, the duty at home is to recognize that good monetary policy is a prerequisite, but not by a long stretch the sole ingredient for income convergence with the European Union. And second, there is the duty to Europe that comes with Bulgaria winning greater voice at the now Eurozone, Euro area table. So home front first. Facts are facts. Yes, life in Bulgaria has improved since it joined the European Union, yet the country has not been a star performer in the great European convergence machine. When Bulgaria began the EU accession negotiations in year 2000, the purchasing power of our GDP per capita was less than 1/3 of the EU average. By 2024, it has risen to about 2/3 of the average. Yeah, that makes a real difference in the lives of people, but it is not, and it will not be enough for Bulgarians. What they want to see is accelerating convergence from the Czech Republic to the Baltic states, Valdis, to your place, to Romania. Others have done better, and that should motivate us to step up. The euro will help, but it does not guarantee higher standards of living on its own. The challenge for us goes on. And the task is to take euro adoption, pair it with good policies, and catapult convergence to the next level. At the very minimum, and I would turn to the Prime Minister with this, at the very minimum, Bulgaria should aspire for sustained higher growth levels to reach per capita income equal to the EU average within the next decade. Let's get it done. And the next question, of course, is how we are going to get it done. Like others, Bulgaria does face short-term challenges. Again, looking across the world, what do we see? We see in many places wage growth outpacing productivity growth, squeezing profitability and competitiveness, pushing up near-term inflation. We see booming credit expansion, including for mortgages, with housing prices, and everybody here in Sofia knows that painfully, going up, up, up. We see here in Bulgaria, we see it in other countries, economies running a bit too hot. And even more than others, we have to recognize Bulgaria faces difficult medium and long-term challenges. Our population, instead of growing, is shrinking. Brain drain is something we continue to suffer from. Infrastructure and defense needs compound fiscal spending pressures. Just look at the face of our Minister of Finance. She knows how serious they are. So the short answer to the question how to do better given all the challenges is with responsible policies aiming at protecting the economy from overheating, guarding economic and financial stability, and lifting private sector productivity. Let me boil down Bulgaria's domestic policy priorities at this point of time to three main tasks. Task number one, cyclically tighten fiscal policy. Fiscal discipline has served Bulgaria so well over the decades, yet now it has to serve us even more. And the priorities we see are tempering public sector wage growth to cool domestic demand, increase pension contributions to curb the deficit of the pension system, and ramping up high-quality public investments to help potential supply keep pace with demand. Task number two, be alert to financial stability risks. Stretched real estate valuations warrant close attention and may call for a further tightening of macroprudential policy to restrain credit growth and prevent overheating. The Bulgarian National Bank appropriately introduced several borrower-based measures in 2024, and Governor Radev is prepared to do more if that is necessary. Task number three, and the most important one, accelerate structural and governance reforms. This is so critical. In Bulgaria, it is critical in Europe, in many places in the world, to lift productivity growth and durably lift real incomes. Yes, the world economy has been resilient. It grows at around 3% year after year, but this is much less the average from before COVID, and it is mostly due to the fact that productivity growth has been slow. So we have to get in our priority list, mobilizing untapped labor potential, attracting foreign talent to compensate for our people going to other places, and investments that I know are on your priority list in education and artificial intelligence, reforms of institutions, transparency, governance, including where it is most difficult in the places where state-owned enterprises play a massive role. Reforms are never easy, but progress is essential. And provided that there is broad engagement, there is candid and persuasive communication, and strong steps to support those in society that are hurt the most, then progress is not only desired, it is achievable. Fiscal and structural reforms can work together to deliver a virtuous circle of faster growth, more public revenues, more public spending. And I know that with good policies, euro adoption can increase both the dynamism and the resilience of our economy. We also are going to have what Mr. Gramegna is here to talk about, access to more backstops. Joining the euro system means Bulgarian banks become eligible for ECB liquidity support via main refinancing operations and emergency liquidity assistance should that become necessary. We pray not. In addition, we would see Bulgaria eligible to join the European Stability Mechanism, the world's largest regional financial arrangement, and it should do that promptly. Now, with privilege comes responsibility. So let me conclude with some thoughts on Bulgaria's duty to Europe. Bulgaria's first duty, of course, is to decisively tackle its own shortcomings, especially in the area of governance. And it is Europe's duty to insist on progress. Bulgaria's second duty is to actively promote deeper economic and financial integration in Europe, and doubtly so, given this time of profound global uncertainty that we find ourselves in, shaped by these forces I talked about of geopolitics, trade, demography, technology. It is simply not good enough that the EU should be a zone of wealth, education, and talent that contents itself with real GDP growth of a little over 1% per year on average, while sending far too many of its best ideas and too much of its savings somewhere else. And indeed, there has been plenty of talk about what Europe can and must do to rediscover its dynamism and lift its competitiveness. Many words spoken, many reports written. Yes, progress is being made, but it is too slow. In no place is this more obvious than in the idea of a European banking union, an area with clear relevance to both private cross-border risk sharing and monetary policy transmission. We see countries that feel that they have submitted their banking systems to the high-quality oversight of the single supervisory mechanism while not getting the cross-border banking privileges they expected in return. We see host nations still mistrustful of the larger jurisdictions, and we see some countries unbudgingly committed to strongly inward-looking banking industry structures. All of this needs to change. Newer member states, like Bulgaria, with their less advanced banking systems, should position themselves in a fourth category as champions for change, pushing hard for the idea of a single European savings and investment union. So here is my message to Bulgaria. Use your voice. In the EU and now in the euro area, if you want more efficient banking and financial intermediation and better opportunities for startups, innovation, and growth, please push for the completion of the EU single market and the single European financial system. Let me finish with the following. Yesterday, Christine Lagarde and I visited the beautiful Bojana Church, a place where one feels so proud of this country. I felt so proud of being Bulgarian. Joining the EU is going to be another source of pride for our nation. And my simple message to Bulgaria is this: please make the best out of it for the Bulgarian people and for Europe. Благодаря много.
Thank you sincerely.
Thank you very much, Madame Georgieva, for your inspiring words. And now we move to our special, very special guest today. And I'm really honored, and it is my great pleasure to welcome today in Sofia, Madame Christine Lagarde, the President of the European Central Bank. Madame Lagarde, you are very warm welcome. We are really glad of having you here and for your continued and strong support. Bulgaria's forthcoming adoption of the euro is a major step, not only for our country, but for Europe's continued unity and integration. In a world of economic fragmentation, rapid technological change, and shifting power balances, the euro remains not only a monetary instrument, but a symbol of unity and resilience. However, Europe must ensure that the euro continues to be both, as you were saying, a shield in times of uncertainty and a driver of growth and strategic sovereignty. But as Prime Minister said, many citizens in Bulgaria are worried about losing economic and monetary control, about sovereignty. There are genuine concerns about the timing of the decision. Is now the right time for Bulgaria to join the Eurozone, and how it will affect prices, overall economic stability? And our question is, in what concrete ways the membership in the Eurozone will protect Bulgarian households and businesses, and how we can ensure it translates into higher living standards and tangible benefits for them. It is my pleasure to give you the floor for the keynote speech.
Merci, merci. Prime Minister Gilles Yaskov and members of your government, Madam Minister, dear Mrs. Georgieva, my dear friend Kristalina, dear Commissioner Dombrovski, my friend Valdis, and all members of your team, and a special recognition for my colleague and soon to be sitting at the same table of the Governing Council, Dimitri Radev, Governor of the National Central Bank of Bulgaria, members of the Diplomatic Corps, Excellencies, friends, and I suppose I haven't forgotten anyone by just saying friends. Before we look into the future, and I try to address some of your questions, I would like to go back into the past. I vividly remember any 1st of January in my life because I was born on January the 1st. But the one I vividly remember is January the 1st, when the initial members of the euro area decided to adopt one single currency, the euro. France gave up the franc, Germany gave up the Deutschmarks, and all the other members at the time, 11 of them, gave up their currency. And I vividly remember that day because, of course, I celebrated my birthday. But at 5 minutes past midnight, with all my friends, we went to the ATM machine to see if it worked. And all of us assumed that it would not work. So we pressed our keys, and here came the euros. I'm not telling you that in the hope that you will celebrate my birthday, but I just want you to know that you are not the only one. It all happened to us at the time when we joined the euro. The 11 initial members and every country that joined along the way, we had the same trepidation, the same anxiety, and we thought, it's not going to work. We thought we are losing our sovereignty. We thought it's going to be more expensive. All of us, okay? The second memory that I would like to bring to you at this point in time, and I was listening to you carefully, Mr. Prime Minister. We are not at destination, and you will not be at destination on January 1st. But Bulgaria has come a long way. And I have vivid memories, together with Valdis, because the two of us were together, of all those meetings that we had with you, Minister Petkova, but with all your predecessors as well, because a lot of work has been done, a lot of reforms have been conducted, a lot of laws have been passed, so that all the criterias, all the expectations that are put upon any member joining the euro were hard work and was eventually a success. So it's a huge, big step that you are reaching, but it's the beginning of a journey. It's not destination. And my friend Kristalina Georgieva put it out very clearly in terms of continuing the reforms and continuing this convergence towards each other that I'm sure you will take to heart to conduct. So, as I said, January 1st, 2026, my heart will beat for you, Bulgaria, as I celebrate my 70th birthday. It will be a special moment, I can assure you. And I might actually bring some good Bulgarian wine to celebrate that day, because that's the thing you normally do on a birthday. So, let me just address a couple of things. I would like to outline for you what I see as the clear benefits of joining the euro. I would identify two key benefits, and I'm sure you can think of others. The first one is prosperity. The second one is security. So what do I mean by prosperity? Over the past decade, just the past decade, GDP per capita in Bulgaria has risen from 1/3 of the average of the euro area to almost 2/3 today. As recommended by Kristalina, there's 1/3 to go, and maybe that's the goal to actually set your eyes on for the continuation of the journey. And the success that you have already achieved has been built on deep integration within the European economy, and even more so into the euro area. If I am to believe the records of Eurostat and other European institutions, as well as my own, 65% of the exports from Bulgaria go to the European Union, and 45% of them go to the euro area. You currently, thanks to the IMF at the time, have a currency board, and as a result, you have enjoyed much of the exchange rate stability that euro membership provides. But adopting the euro will take this integration one step further by removing the last currency barrier within the single market. For Bulgarian firms, whether they're large corporates or whether they're SMEs, that means zero conversion costs when exporting to their primary European customers. SMEs will save around 1 billion leva every year in conversion costs alone. Take the car industry in Bulgaria. Bulgaria supplies around 80% of electronic components used in European vehicles. Instead of spending time and money on currency conversion, these companies can reinvest those savings into growth and development. The euro adoption will also open the door wider to European capital markets. By that time, we will not have concluded capital market union yet, but as Kristalina advocated, bring your voice to the table in order to make sure that that capital market union actually happens in the not too distant future, and as advocated by the European Commission and the European Council by 2028. That would mean lower funding costs, and it would provide a more stable basis for long-term investment. Now, these benefits are already visible in the improved credit ratings of Bulgaria and narrower sovereign spreads. which will translate into lower borrowing costs for all those who borrow, households and corporates. So with these foundations, Bulgarian firms can continue to invest, they can innovate, and they can move up the value chain as they have done so impressively already. So as I said, the journey continues. Now the second benefit, so the first one was prosperity. The second one is security. We are living in a much more volatile world, a much more fragmented world, with constant external shocks. For a small and open economy, any small and open economy, but Bulgaria is one, where nearly 1 in 2 jobs depend on foreign demand, that exposure to external shocks can be particularly acute. The currency board has insulated Bulgaria by eliminating euro-lev fluctuation. While it is a strong shield, it is not the ultimate shield. The ultimate shield, and the safest one, is the institutional credibility of euro membership. It provides complete protection against exchange rate volatility with Bulgaria's main trading partners in Europe, and it protects Bulgarian firms from sharp currency swings that can erode competitiveness globally. So as part of a large currency area with much deeper financial markets, the euro is far less vulnerable to sudden shifts in global capital flows than smaller economies. Just to give you an idea and to put it in perspective, the turnover in US dollar euro market is around 20 times higher than in euro Swiss francs or euro Japanese yen markets. This scales provides lower volatility. Now, at the same time, because the euro, don't forget, is the second most important currency in the world after the dollar, the euro area pays for more than half of its imports in its own currency. That number is much higher in the case of Bulgaria. 83% of what you import into Bulgaria is invoiced in what will soon be your currency, in euro. Now, what that does is that it cushions households and businesses from rising import prices when exchange rates move. In addition, when global demand becomes less predictable, regional integration matters even more, and the single currency cements that integration. It prevents our internal markets from being weakened by competitive devaluation. Based on our research at the ECB, during the great financial crisis, the euro depreciated by around 20% against the US dollar. But if you look at what would have happened if we had not had the euro, some of the member states would have suffered a devaluation of their currency of 34%. That gives you the magnitude of the protection of that shield. And that variations could have threatened the cohesion that we have built. But thanks to the euro, Europe's single market remained solid and united. So I'm now going to address the 2 topics that I have mentioned at the opening of my remarks. The fear, the apprehension. What will happen? Why would we change? I'm signing the euro banknotes, by the way, so you will see my name on all those banknotes. Why would you go for this lady signing our banknotes? She doesn't even speak Bulgarian. Well, as I said, it's a universal fear. It's a universal concern. It is not specific to Bulgaria. We feared it, and we overcome the fear. So the first fear you have is losing sovereignty. National monetary policy will be subordinated to European decisions. We will lose control over our destiny. And that's understandable, particularly given the long history that you have and the attachment to your currency. But I would contend that joining the euro is not a loss of sovereignty, it's a gain. For decades now, Bulgaria has been operating under a currency board. And in practice, that has meant what? importing into Bulgaria the monetary policy of larger economies, but without a seat at the table. That will now change. As of January 1st, I will have the pleasure of welcoming, with great fanfare and trumpeting, I hope, our new member, a governor from Bulgaria, Dmitry Radev, who will sit at the table with exactly the same voice, the same vote, and the same standing as any of the other 20 governors around the table. There's no weighted voting, single vote, single voice. And he will be listened to address the point and the question by Kristalina. We don't do show of hands, but I go around the table to be certain that the views that we are taking is supported by a very broad majority in the room. So your governor's voice will actually matter, and his views will be listened to and respected. So Bulgaria will not be following others. Bulgaria will help shape the decisions. And if you look at the Bulgarian economy, it is already deeply integrated into European supply chain. Its business cycle now moves closely in step with that of the euro area. When the euro area grows, Bulgaria grows. When it slows, Bulgaria slows. You want to be part of what will shape the decisions. The second worry that you will have is that it will lead to price increases. People in the trade, in the retail business, in the cafes, in the bistro, at the hairdresser will take advantage of that moment to increase prices. This is not ill-founded fears, because we have seen it happen. But because we have seen it happen, your government knows that something needs to be done to address those concerns. Typically, you have an increase because of the rounding up. You know, it's easier to round up than to round down. You typically have a rounding up of 0.2 to 0.4. Even at the height of inflation, Croatia, for instance, observed an increase of 0.4 because of the rounding up and the very high inflation environment. But that happens once, and then it's absorbed and it goes away. What needs to be done at that point is that authorities, locally, regionally, nationally, they need to make sure that the rule is respected, that the conversion rate that is agreed applies, strictly speaking, to the last cent, to the conversion of price in lev into the price in euro. You need to have, and I know that this is a decision that you have made, you need to have both prices flagged so that you can check that it's the right conversion, and this will take place until August 2026. So that gives you about 8 months to make sure that the baker, the cafe owner, the hairdresser, and everybody in the supply chain will actually respect this commitment of the strict conversion to the last cent. And you have to check, and associations, NGOs should be active in that respect. This has proven efficient, and typically you see a slight increase, as I said, from 0.2 to 0.4 because of the rounding up for about 6 months, and then it goes away. But, vigilance is necessary, and it's the responsibility not just of the authorities, it's everyone's responsibility. So those fears, loss of sovereignty, no, it will not be a constraint. It will actually enhance your voice in the monetary policy definition. Higher prices, no, you have to check, you have to verify, and the commitment is there. But let me mention the last risk that I see, and it coincides with the risk identified by Kristalina. The risk that we have observed in the past is that those countries that made a huge effort to reach the convergence criteria, to change the laws, to make sure that it aligns with the requirements, fatigue sets in. You don't want to do yet more reforms. And the tendency is to just step back and return to the old order or business as usual. That would be a real mistake. Because, and that is IMF research actually, which has demonstrated that. Those countries that have continued hard to integrate into the euro area have generally gained an additional 10% of wealth in the country compared to those that laid back, took it easy, and decided that fatigue reform was too much for them. So my encouragement to you is do not fall prey to that fatigue. Carry on, because the reward will be significant. You have delivered already a lot, impressive results. Lock that progress in and carry on, because that will be beneficial to the Bulgarian people. So let me now conclude. Vasil Levski, Bulgaria's most revered national hero, once said, and I translate because I don't speak Bulgarian, I apologize, "The people's cause stands above all." The decision to adopt the euro embodies that cause. It strengthens Bulgaria's economic foundations, it builds resilience against shocks, and it increases Bulgaria's voice in euro area decisions, and therefore it supports its sovereignty. Given Bulgaria's long-standing currency peg, the cost of foregoing an independent monetary policy are minimal, while the gains are substantial. Smoother trade, lower financing cost, and more stable prices. These advantages can be particularly significant for the SMEs as they try to expand within a larger market. But gains are not automatic. With a transparent changeover and sustained reform momentum, you can turn convergence into lasting competitiveness that translates into higher living standard for all Bulgarian. So, I'm telling you, after all those many meetings, all those efforts, those steps forward, we put our trust in you. You put our trust in us. We will not let you down. Please don't let us down either. And let's carry that journey together. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madame Lagarde, for your inspiring reflections and addressing the concerns that many citizens have. Уважаеми дами и господа,
Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to express our sincerest of gratitude to our esteemed guests, Prime Minister, Madam Kristalina Georgieva, Madam Christine Lagarde, for the shared vision, for the perspectives they outlined, for the new opportunities, the challenges and risks, and above all, for the commitment and support in such an important process for Bulgaria. I would like for us to wish them fruitful meetings. They're continuing with bilateral meetings, and at the end of today's event, they will have official press conferences. In mere minutes, we will continue with the program on the agenda. Let us just do a quick setup here at the stage, and we will continue. Thank you for the patience.
Уважаеми дами и господа, уважаеми гости, бих искала да ви поканя.
Ladies and gentlemen, dear guests, may I please invite you to take your seats so that we can continue with the agenda, as we will now have a video conference call. It is at a fixed time, and may we please provide some respect for our guests, even if virtual, and start on time, please.
Започваме ли? Не знам. Госта ни на линия ли? Уважаеми дами и господа,
Ladies and gentlemen, we will continue with the agenda of today's event. we will have a video conference chat with Pascal Donoghue, Chair of the Eurogroup and Minister of Finance of Ireland.
Line with Mr. Pascal Donoghue, President of the Eurogroup and Minister of Finance of Ireland, for a special fireside chat conversation on the topic of the euro, more than a currency. Mr. Donoghue, thank you sincerely for joining us today virtually. Thank you very much for your time and for the opportunity to have this discussion. Your continued support for Bulgaria's path to the euro area has been truly invaluable. So thank you once again for joining us. I hope you can see me and you can hear me. And let's start with our chat. And I will start with the first question. The euro was conceived not only as an economic project, but as a statement of shared European values. In a world of rising geopolitical and social fragmentation, how can the euro continue to embody and promote the values of unity, stability, and solidarity among citizens and member states? Не се чува? I'm sorry, we cannot hear you. If you can just pause for a second. If we can unmute your microphone. Sometimes online connections, we experience problems, but I hope you heard my first question. Благодаря на всички за търпението.
Thank you everyone for your patience. I do strongly hope that the colleagues from the technical teams will be able to restore our connection.
Very much, Mr. Donoghue. I hope our technical teams on both sides will be able to resolve the technical issues we experience. Mr. Donoghue, please unmute. The signal on our side is that you are muted. Please, if we can ask the technical team on your side to unmute.
Good morning. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can. Thank you very much for your patience. Now we are connected. I hope you heard my question. Very warm welcome, and please, the floor is yours.
Look, thank you very much, and thank God we got our technology working. I just want to open up by offering my regrets for not being able to join you in person. The reason for that is this is the week I have to take all of the legislation for the budget of Ireland through our Parliament. And I'm afraid I have to be in Dublin for this week in order to do that. I particularly regret this, given the long-standing support that I have had over many, many years for Bulgaria joining the Euro area. And I missed the opportunity to be there with you and Sofia, with many friends and colleagues, to recognise the huge achievement that you have all made possible by readying your economy to join the euro area. To then answer your question regarding the role of the euro in a world that is changing and has become so volatile and full of challenge for us, the first point I would note is the very high level of support that exists within the euro area for countries that currently use the euro. In the recent polling and opinion studies that have been done regarding support for the euro, over 80% of people within economies who use the euro support the role of the euro. And I think one of the reasons for this is that it speaks to an understanding that our world is changing, and it is by cooperation between countries that we're better able to deal with that change. And if I was to highlight 3 specific projects that can make a difference to the euro helping us with all of the change that is underway, firstly, it is by the euro area becoming bigger. That is why it was so welcome when Croatia joined. It is why it is so positive for the euro area and for Bulgaria that you are joining. Secondly, it is our efforts to maintain investment in our own future while keeping our public finances safe. And thirdly, it's the many projects that you will play a role in making happen in the years ahead, from our work on an investment and savings union to the really important project of the digital euro. So there are 3 of the specific projects that can deliver against that aim. And again, as other guests have said, congratulations on your achievement, and we look forward to seeing you fully join on the 1st of January.
Thank you, Mr. Donoghue. Indeed, with the rapid evolution of digital finance, artificial intelligence, and the prospect of a digital euro, what opportunities do technological developments offer to strengthen euro's role globally, while enhancing financial inclusion and resilience within Europe?
So this is why the Digital Euro project is so important. And I know you have heard from Commissioner Dombrovskis. I know you would have heard from the President of the ECB, Christine Lagarde, and our colleague Pierre Gramegna from the ESM, who will talk about the future of the euro and your role in it. The digital euro is our strongest response back to the fact that the reserve currencies of the world, in our view, and in particular for the euro, need a digital future. And what we have done now within the Eurogroup is we have reached political agreement on some of the key decisions with regard to that. And our colleagues in the Danish presidency are now preparing the legal and legislative work to give effect to those decisions. And as I said a moment ago, what is wonderful is that you will now be full participants in that discussion. It was great to welcome your minister, Minister Petkova, to the Eurogroup as an observer, as a preliminary member of the Eurogroup for those discussions. But she will be a full member of the Eurogroup shortly, and her voice and the work of your officials will be really important as we advance the work of the digital euro.
Thank you. And indeed, the membership of the euro area brings both benefits and obligations. And as earlier, Madame Lagarde mentioned a few, but how can we reinforce the sense of shared responsibility among the member states, balancing fiscal discipline with solidarity, and to ensure that the euro area remains a true community and rather than just a monetary arrangement between countries?
So your participation within the Eurogroup itself and the engagement that you have with the Commission. The Eurogroup and our meetings every month is a political community of all of the finance ministers who share the euro. And our discussion with each other on budget policy is a very informal but very effective way of reminding us of our responsibilities to each other, but also the benefits that we derive from working together. And those meetings offered an informal but very effective forum in which we can assess our collaboration and our coordination on really important projects. So that informal mechanism, combined with the formal legal architecture of our budget framework for the European Union, is the way in which we do it. And all I would finally add is that it's so important in those macroeconomic discussions not to forget those people who use the euro, those people in Bulgaria who will be using the euro from 2026, and to continue to emphasise to them the benefits of stability, the benefits of convenience, and how the euro can be of help in allowing small and medium-sized economies to be safer with all of the challenges that we know are building.
Thank you very much, Mr. Donoghue. Thank you for your time, for your insights, and for your consistent support for Bulgaria's Euro journey. We wish you a very good day.
And congratulations again. I'm genuinely sorry that I can't be in Sofia, given all of your great work, but I'm afraid I have no choice but to be in our Parliament dealing with the laws and legal requirements for our budget. So I hope your conference goes well, and not only do I wish the conference every success, far more importantly, I wish the people of Bulgaria and their economy every prosperity and success as they join the euro area. And again, congratulations on all you've achieved so far.
Thank you very much. We are looking forward to meeting you here in person in Bulgaria, welcoming you soon. Have a good day. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Have a great day.
А сега, уважаеми дами и господа,
Now, ladies and gentlemen, we go on with the last session of our event today. It's a high-level roundtable panel discussion. Panelists are Temenushka Petkova, Minister of Finance, Republic of Bulgaria, Valdis Dombrovskis, Commissioner for Economy and Productivity. I think he's the Euro Commissioner who has gone with Bulgaria all along the way. Thank you for your support, Mr. Dombrovskis. And Mr. Pierre Gramegna, Managing Director of the European Stability Mechanism. Later on, we will be joined by Dimitar Radev, Governor of the Bulgarian National Bank, who is now a part of the bilateral meetings of our official guests. And we start the discussion, and he will join us later. Good morning. Thank you very much for your patience, your panelists. Minister Petkova. Let me start with you. The key minister who, in the coming days and weeks, will manage the process, which wasn't an easy one, as we said many times today. Efforts, consequence of many governments, and we are at the final leg. Tell us, what were the key steps and the reforms that were necessary in order for Bulgaria to prepare to come to the point where we are to successfully prepare our economy, not only for the Eurozone membership, but also to use the benefits of it? I would like to thank you, Mrs. Pavlova. Before answering your question, I would want to thank Mr. Dombrovskis, Madame Lagarde, Mr. Gramegna for their wholehearted support that Bulgaria enjoyed from them. Indeed, thank you from the bottom of my heart. And let me tell you that what will happen in the coming days is the fruit of a common effort, for which I'm grateful. As we mentioned, the path to the Eurozone started with Bulgaria joining the EU with the clear commitment that when the convergence criteria are met, Bulgaria will become a full member of the Eurozone. Long road, not easy, and our commitment became a strategic national goal, and number of governments invested a lot of effort so that today at this forum and in the coming few days we can witness the fact that from January 1st, 2026, Bulgaria will be a full member of the Eurozone. Undoubtedly, this was a success for our country. What was the key moment regarding our accession to the Eurozone? What happened in 2020? The membership of the ERM2 and the European Banking Union. Mr. Guranov was the main protagonist there, Mr. Radev. Great contribution of the government of Prime Minister Borisov then to this key moment for our country. Then on, we set on the road to perform the criteria of Euro membership, harmonization of our law with the EU law. National plan was adopted for introducing the euro. Very clearly, we have written the steps and stages to finalize successfully this process. In 2024, we passed a law for acceptance of the euro, which was the major legal framework, and then bylaws were passed to regulate the possibility and all the stages that we have to go through in order to be successful in introducing the European currency. Law for the Bulgarian National Bank was passed too in fully conform with European rules. So efforts were to harmonize the law with the European. Another very important goal and stage was to harmonize the information systems of this country according to the requirements of acceding to the euro. This was a very long and very responsible process, and I'm glad to say that Bulgaria is ready from IT standpoint to introduce the euro as of 1st of January 2026 at the level of state administration and municipal administration too. Another major step that we had to make was related to the fact that Bulgarian society, citizens, businesses receive objective information regarding the benefits of introducing the euro and information what will happen at various stages in order to disseminate the fears that some anti-European parties were trying to seed in Bulgarian society. Bulgarian Prime Minister Zhelyakov said how things are now. More than 51% of Bulgarian citizens support fully the implementation of the euro, which is a very exceptionally good and clear sign of the attitudes of Bulgarian society. Undoubtedly, in order for this to happen, we had a very important campaign by the government and the Bulgarian National Bank, awareness campaign. These were meetings, dozens and hundreds, explanatory meetings to tell the businesses what will happen to pensioners, how can people go and shop in euro. All this process was explained, and we continue this process because very soon, on 1st of January, we will see how we have managed to tackle this task. I'm sure we did well because we mobilized all the efforts of the agencies, institutions, and we joined efforts. And when we joined, results are good. So I'm confident in saying that Bulgaria is ready from 1st of January 2026 to introduce successfully euro in our country. Once again, thank you cordially to everyone for your support along the road. Thank you. Thank you, Minister. The United we stand strong. This was also the slogan of the Bulgarian presidency of the Council. Mr. Dubrovsky.
Throughout the journey, with all the ups and downs and all the challenges, but as well as opportunities, please share with us how you see euro adoption strengthening Bulgaria's resilience and competitiveness in the current geopolitical context. A lot has been said. We are facing serious fragmentation, geopolitical tensions, rapid technological development, severe competition. The world is changing, Europe is changing. But how can euro enhance and support Bulgaria's and European resilience and competition?
Yes, thank you very much for this question, and thank you for the invitation to this high-level conference. It's a pleasure to be here in Sofia on this important occasion with Bulgaria joining the euro area and now being in the final stages of preparation. And from what we see also in practical terms, the preparation is well on track. Indeed, the context in which Bulgaria is joining the euro area is complicated. The world, the geopolitics is becoming more fragmented and more conflictual. And therefore, it's even more important and makes even more sense actually to be part of the larger geopolitical bloc. So joining the euro area does not mean just joining the currency union and changing the coins and banknotes. It also means belonging to the core of the European Union. And in terms of resilience, it's something which we had seen that being part of the Eurozone helps with the resilience, especially on smaller countries. To give some practical examples, right after Russia's invasion in Ukraine, investors were also, to say, reassessing the geopolitical risks, especially in Central Eastern European region, in the Baltics. And what we saw that all in all, actually investor perception reflected also, for example, in borrowing costs for those countries, where borrowing costs, for example, in Baltic states, even though they are geopolitically more exposed, were lower than borrowing costs, for example, in Poland and Hungary. And to a large extent, this effect was explained by Baltic states being part of the euro area and investors assessing it as a stabilizing factor. And also we saw it with just countries joining the euro area that borrowing costs in those countries is going down because investors see it as a positive factor about stability and financial performance of the country. So therefore, indeed, it's additional factor which will help strengthen also Bulgaria's resilience. But as it has been said already in speeches before today and not only today, it's important in any case that Bulgaria stays the course. Bulgaria has strong track record on fiscal responsibility and actually has a second lowest debt to GDP ratio in the EU, and it's another factor actually strengthening the resilience in Bulgaria, but it is important to stay it this way because joining the euro area does not absolve you from necessity to follow responsible fiscal and macroeconomic policy. So that's one aspect which is important to remember.
Thank you very much, Commissioner. And now I move to Mr. Pierre Gramegna. Thank you very much for being with us today. I know it was difficult, but we finally rearranged your agenda and you're here in person, so we really appreciate this effort. Please tell us about what ESM stands for, because as it was already mentioned earlier today, by joining the euro area, Bulgaria will become a member of ESM. But not many Bulgarians are aware what ESM stands for. As we usually joke and say, it is the European IMF. So tell us more about it.
Yes, thanks for inviting me. It's a privilege and a pleasure to be back in Bulgaria and to be back to Sofia, see old friends like former Finance Minister Goranov. Dear Vladislav, it's good to see you here. I came here when Bulgaria had the presidency of the EU, and now in 7 years, I can tell you, despite the short time I have been here, you have made a lot of progress. You just need to drive through the city and see new buildings popping up. I know Christine Lagarde, and I want to stay for a minute on geopolitics because it's really key, and then I'll speak about the ESM. You can say that the glass is half full or half empty. You had 1/3 of level of GDP per capita in terms of purchasing power. Now it's 2/3, so you have done half the way. But measuring it like this maybe overlooks what is the specific situation we're in today. When we created the euro back in 1999, and we had the bills coming out in 2002, the world was another one. In those days, we had to explain to people the euro is the strongest integration to the integration of all our countries. This comes on top of everything else. This is the most strategic thing. By the way, we're finding out there is one very strategic thing missing now, which is obviously defense cooperation. But let's leave that aside for the time being. But this is exactly the point. We are at a geopolitical turmoil that is unprecedented. And joining the euro at this time, and Valdis has alluded to it, and he himself comes from one of the Baltic states, and having on the other side of the border a huge country that has become an enemy, to have a common currency is so precious. So I will be very blunt. I do not understand those who are against the euro. Now you must say that I'm biased, but let me put it in another way. What else would you like to do? Do you really, does anybody think here in this room that keeping your own national currency would make you stronger at this juncture? Definitely not. So I hear it's 51%, Temenushka. I hope it's going to go up to 75 and 80% quite quickly. And I will take a very concrete example. In the French campaign for elections, when Marine Le Pen in the past was really losing confidence of the people, was when she said 10 years ago that they would like to leave the euro. Because she was asked, what else do you want to do? She had no answer. And I think it's the same here in Bulgaria. So what else do you want to put in place? Do you really think that the national currency alone against the rest of the world will make you stronger? I think your slogan is great. Strength in unity is what it's all about. So on top of that, the ESM, European Stability Mechanism, was born in the crisis. This is also, I think, important to realize. Our founding fathers, and maybe those who invented, and I was part of it as a young diplomat, the common currency and the Maastricht Treaty and all this, had not thought that we need a lender of last resort for our common currency. So it was invented in the financial crisis back in 2010, 2012. And so what do? Well, if something goes really wrong in a country, you have someone is there to assist you. So we have done it with 5 countries in the last decade. And we are there not only to support countries that are in crisis, but we are also there to support countries to prevent crisis. So preventing crisis and resolving crisis. So that's what we do. And maybe a last point, because I hear this question a lot, the way we function is very important, because this is unique, the way the European Stability Mechanism functions. We have a paid-in capital of 81 billion euro. This is the highest paid-in capital of any international financial institution. And Bulgaria is going to pay into that capital 1.2%. That money is not going to be lent. That money stays in the European Stability Mechanism. And with this 81 billion, we, the ESM, can borrow 500 billion euro on the markets with a AAA rating. So the way the 5 countries that were helped last decade got the support was that they benefited from the very low rate of a AAA institution, and it is a loan, they have to pay it back. And I will conclude by this very encouraging message. If you look at those 5 countries, they got the money with conditionality. They had to do macroeconomic reforms. And because they did macroeconomic reforms, these 5 countries have the highest rate of growth now in the European Union. They were among the weakest ones. They are stronger now because of reform. I think that speaks to the topic that you have to continue reform to stay competitive, because that's the best way to not use the European Stability Mechanism.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Very reassuring message to our guests and citizens and businesses. Много се радвам, че към нас се присъедини.
I am really happy that now we also have the governor of the Bulgarian National Bank also joining us. I'm starting with the first question to you, as our guests have already answered one question each. Mr. Governor, in the context of these geopolitical challenges that we have been discussing, economical turbulences and turmoil, and a shaken up geopolitical and economic atmosphere in a changing Europe and a changing world. What do you see? How do you see our entry into the euro area in this broader political context, and what are the challenges on one side for the successful adoption, and on the other hand, of course, how could we actually turn these challenges into greater benefits and opportunities? Thank you very much. Above all, allow me to welcome on behalf of course, Minister Petkova and myself as the hosts of this conference, symbolically speaking. We have here perhaps the most important people in the international financial institutions, in Madame Lagarde, Madame Georgieva. Of course, thrilled to share the stage with Mr. Valdis Dombrovskis and Mr. Pierre Gramegna, people who have for long supported the cause of Bulgaria and been a friend of ours. I would like to welcome and greet all those present here, people who have had a significant contribution to the process of adoption, and all those who are watching us online or on TV. In terms of the context, it is, of course, very important. It usually remains at the backdrop, but it, to a major extent, predetermines the reasons for what we are doing and why we are doing it. I think that in the Eurozone, this context has three dimensions. First dimension, I would call it both historical and strategic. It boils down to two questions, two topics. The topic of the direction and the topic of being part of something. And for Bulgaria, the answer to both of these questions is Europe. Bulgaria is one of the oldest European countries with a deeply embedded European identity. Could Bulgaria, as knowing its history, have a different direction? Should it be looking elsewhere? Could it belong somewhere else? No. This is just the stepping stone, the foundation of this broader question that you are asking me. The second element is responsibility. The responsibility of Bulgaria towards the European project is easy to show and prove in easy times and difficult in turbulent times. And I think that considering the fact that we are joining the euro area in this difficult, challenging time, shows that we don't want to just sit on the sidelines and watch, but we want to be an active part of the discussion and contribute to the resolution and solving of these issues. And the third broader context is the position of Bulgaria worldwide. Perhaps Europe and the euro area is not the global superpower that we want it to be and that it will be one day, politically, economically, militarily speaking. But the Eurozone, Europe and the European Union continue being a global leader in one thing: the security and prosperity that they provide for its citizens. I do not want to get into this broad, detailed topic. We've discussed it in many other topics and formats, say migration, which is a quite contradictory topic. But let us think about the question, why do so many millions want to reach the euro area, and get within the borders of the euro area? Because they see in the euro area prosperity and quality of life, a standard of life that they want to provide for themselves and their families. So from this point of view, we are on one hand doomed, but on the other hand, blessed to be part of the Euro area, this area of prosperity and of the future. So in this broader context, I have to say that the answer is notably in this combination of the direction, of the continuity, of the commitment, of the responsibility, and of course the prosperity and standard of life. Thank you very much, Mr. Radev. Madam Minister, coming back to you, speaking about prosperity, improving the quality of life, something that citizens are expecting. Madame Lagarde did speak of the benefits from your point of view. When do you think the Bulgarians will feel these tangible benefits, real results from the euro? Madame Lagarde and Madame Georgieva both spoke a lot about the benefits, the pros in joining the euro area. They are undoubted, but I have to say that we have already experienced the benefit of this. Bulgaria has covered all the convergence criteria, and after both positive convergence reports on behalf of both the European Central Bank and from the European Commission, the international rating agencies instantly improved the rating of Bulgaria, which does mean an improved trust in the Bulgarian economy, in the Bulgarian financial institutions. This trust in itself is a precondition to attract investments to Bulgaria. Investments, on their own hand, are a precondition for economic growth, for new jobs, for wage growth. So the benefits of Bulgaria joining the euro is undoubted. Of course, the currency exchange costs that will no longer be due. We're speaking about approximately 1 billion a year that businesses could accumulate and not use as costs, not pay as costs, is a great benefit. But I think that the biggest benefit for Bulgaria is that, practically speaking, from the 1st of January 2026, we will be able to take a seat at the table of all members of the euro area that make the important decisions for the economic and financial development of the European Union. Bulgaria will take its deserved place after covering all the convergence criteria, so the benefits are numerous and huge. Thank you very much, Madam Minister.
As earlier Kristalina Georgieva mentioned and sent specific key messages to Bulgarian government on important steps and important reforms and continuation of efforts. But what are the policy priorities for Bulgaria to thrive in the euro area in the years ahead? And from your experience as Prime Minister of Latvia and the experience of countries, recent accession of Croatia, what could be the pitfalls and risks we need to be mindful of?
Yes, thank you for this question. Frankly, I do not see many pitfalls and risks apart of complacency. And that was, again, both Kristalina Georgieva and other colleagues already saying, it's actually important to stay the course. Euro is a helpful factor with resilience, with competitiveness, and so on and so forth. There are many tangible benefits which are coming with the euro, but euro, as I said before, does not abolish the need for responsible fiscal and macroeconomic policy, so it's important to stay the course. And it also doesn't abolish necessity to do the structural reforms to improve competitiveness, to improve business environment, to improve governance, to address many sectoral issues. All of this work needs to continue also in Eurozone. Therefore, it's important with Eurozone not to lose this reform momentum, not to relax, but rather use the advantages which Euro provides to continue with reforms, to continue with responsible policies, and to reap full benefits which Euro area can offer, combined with your own policies and reforms which need to be implemented.
Thank you, Commissioner. Mr. Gromenia, you mentioned ESM is there to prevent and to resolve crises. From your lessons learned from the previous financial crisis in some countries they experienced, what are the key lessons to be learned and to be mindful of in the context of us joining the euro?
Yes, I alluded to in my first intervention that the 5 countries that received support from the European Stability Mechanism had to undergo structural reforms. And sometimes they were painful, but they had to do them. And now it pays off. I mentioned that their growth rate is higher than the average of the Eurozone or the EU itself, but these countries now are more fit in terms of competitiveness, and that will serve them and help them for the future. I think Valdis said it quite well when he said, what are the risks of adopting the euro? I think there are no risks. Honestly, there are no risks in the sense that you are prepared. You have been pegged to the Deutschmark and to the euro. It was a long journey. You have achieved this goal, and now you will reap the benefits if you're not complacent. That's I think, the necessary condition. That being said, and Pascal Donner, you mentioned it briefly in the fireside chat, let's not forget, besides geopolitical turmoil all around us and around the world, there's another thing happening that we must realize, and that is that the administration in the United States is changing the position on so many topics, also in finance, also with currencies, that to be in a common currency like ours, which is the second largest in terms of reserves of the world and the second most used for transaction, is a huge advantage. I think it's something that probably even in Bulgaria people are not conscious of. So the risks entailed with digital currencies in general and the opportunities can be faced better if you are part of the euro area. So let's really not keep that out of sight. Last but not least, we are glad that Bulgaria has also written to the ESM in September to say that it wants to join the European Stability Mechanism. You are as such already invited as an observer, and Methodi is already a well-known figure in Luxembourg and in Brussels, and starting from the beginning of next year you'll be in the euro area, and when you will have ratified the European Stability Mechanism Treaty, you will be not only observer, but you will be a member, and we count on you to tell the story to those who are inside and take it for granted that it was not so easy to get in, and that you are proud to be in, because it is a privilege to be part of the euro area, and it brings a lot of benefits, and with one more country, we are stronger.
Thank you, Mr. Gromenia. Господин Радев, както господин Громения каза,
Mr. Radev, Mr. Gromenia said there are no risks. Of course, there are challenges, but also opportunities to Bulgaria and Bulgarian National Bank. In your opinion, what are the risks and challenges to the Bulgarian National Bank? How will BNB and the participation in the euro system will change your position, and from there on, the actions that you're going to take? I believe that we can't complain about lack of challenges, but how can we solve them? We have to see them as opportunities. There are very many specific topics that we can discuss, but I will mention too the role of the euro and the role of prudent macroeconomic policy. The euro, as Mrs. Lagarde mentioned, and other previous speakers to this conference, is the second most important world reserve currency. What we have a challenge now is the role of the euro in a different strategic context related to increasing its role And this immediately leads us to the point to ask what will happen? What do we have to do in order to increase the role of the euro? And here we touch upon a wide scope of questions that are yet to be decided in this global situation. Fragmentation of markets, what are we going to do with the capital market, for example? Integration of the capital market. What will we do with the banking union? We should not forget that the banking union is not completed yet as a project. What will be the coordination of national policies? There is an asymmetry in the European model now. We have integrated monetary policy. On the other hand, we have still fragmented political and fiscal framework. And this is the topic which the Bulgarian National Bank in our term of office will be very proactive on. And this brings me to the second topic of macroeconomic policy. Regardless of certain episodes of difficulties, in general terms, we have followed prudent macroeconomic policy for a long term, a long period of time. As a result, we have one of the lowest percentage of debt compared to GDP in Europe. Question is how we maintain this prudent macroeconomic policy after we become part of the Eurozone. We have mentioned before that we can go through very difficult moments. Remember, 10 years ago, the crisis of the banking sector, it cost us a lot of effort and deep reforms in order to have a banking sector like now with liquidity, which is about the average for the European Union. We have a reputation of fiscally responsible country for decades now. And this is a fact that the good fiscal position is exposed to pressure over the past years. And we can see that when we are discussing the budget, which will start in the coming days, the budget for 2026. But I'm positive we have the capacity to tackle those difficulties. And of course, it is very difficult how monetary and fiscal policy are coordinated. And we discussed this with the government and specifically with the Ministry of Finance. I'm not going to open the big topic of structural reform, which has been a bit stagnant over the past years. So what will the BNB do? BNB will be a critical and constructive voice within the framework of its term of office at the European level and nationally, and I am convinced that BNB will stay a source of stability and predictability for households and businesses alike. Thank you. Thank you, Governor. And finally, I would like to invite each and every one of you to give a final message to our guests, to our audience, to the people who have been with us. What would be your message after this discussion?
Minister, заповядайте.
Madam Minister, you have the floor. My message: believe in Bulgaria. We will be a reliable partner. We believe and trust in you. You trust and believe in Bulgaria. Thank you.
If you can share your final message to our audience.
Yeah, thank you. Well, the message is clear. Welcome to Euro area. Use all the opportunities it provides. From European Commission side, we have been accompanying this journey for many years, and we are still ready to help and to bring this journey to the successful conclusion and use all the benefits which you will have with joining the Euro. Thank you.
Commissioner, Pierre, Mr. Gramegna, your final message?
Well, I think, seen from the European Stability Mechanism, you have now an additional backstop. You have now an additional assurance. It's not we do not even ask the question if we trust or we do not trust you. You are our shareholders and you are our member states at the same time. You have a buy-in into this and see it as one additional strength for being a part of this European venture. And don't forget, rule of law is something that is becoming very rare around the world. And the European Union, the Euro area, is built on rule of law. We have principles, we have treaties, and we respect each other on top of the fact that reinforce each other. So I think today is celebrating what's going to happen next year. I think really it's a moment of joy.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Governor. Your message? First, sincerest gratitudes to all the partners here in the country and abroad who have supported us along this path and in this process. We must be aware of the fact, however, that joining the euro area is not the end, but just the beginning of the path, hopefully to greater economic prosperity and a better life for Bulgarians. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you to our panelists, participants and guests. Now I have the pleasure to make some conclusionary remarks. A lot has been said today, but what we can firmly state is that today's conference has showed us that Bulgaria is not alone on its path towards the euro area. In just days, we will stand side by side to the strongest countries in Europe. We heard the clear messages from leading Bulgarian and international institutions, and I believe that they all share the vision that success comes when stability and unity become a culture, and integration and ongoing reforms and strict fiscal policy are a mission. Today we can clearly state that Bulgaria is ready. It is ready not only technically speaking, but also politically speaking and institutionally. For as the governor said, the euro is not an end, it is the beginning of a new chapter of trust, of investment and growth. With this new chapter, a greater responsibility also comes. So let us take advantage and use the euro area tools, an instrument for higher productivity, for education, for human capital, for innovations, because our success is going to be seen not only in the stable finance, but also in higher quality of life, stronger institutions, and deeper European integration. Euro is a symbol of belonging to Europe, to trust, to solidarity, and to shared values. Today, Bulgaria has made its choice for the future. A choice for Europe, for stability, for growth, and for a generation that will live with the euro as a symbol of confidence, freedom, and hope. Thank you for your attention, the dialogue, and the leadership. Have a lovely day.
Sound check, sound check.
so big that I couldn't see it.
Добър ден, колеги.
Good morning, dear colleagues. It is my pleasure to open the first press conference of our official event, the press conference of Mrs. Christine Lagarde, President of the European Central Bank, and Mr. Dimitar Radev, Governor of the Bulgarian National Bank.
It's a pleasure for me to open the first press conference after our official event. And it's an honor to me to introduce Mrs. Lagarde, the President of the European Central Bank, and Mr. Dimitar Radev, Governor of the Bulgarian National Bank. Mrs. Lagarde, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. Good morning to all of you. It's a great privilege and an honor to be jointly hosting you on the occasion of this press conference. But before I do that, and before I say a few words, I'm going to remove this very secretive piece of cloth which is hiding a secret. So stay tuned. Shall we do it together?
Please.
Yeah, okay. I'll keep my little thingy, so... Whoops, sorry. I'll keep it on. Whoops. Okay, there we go. Ready? You take the other hand. Ready?
Whoa.
And we're both going to sign it, shall we?
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Shall we sign on the front?
Which?
Yes. Okay. All right, there we go. Oh, we sign from this and then we show it to you. Okay. Okay. All right. Over to you. Can we turn it around?
Yes.
There we go.
Very nice. Thank you.
So we are very, very pleased to be welcoming Bulgaria in the euro area with the euro as its currency. This is not happening today. It will be happening on the 1st of January. It will happen overnight, and it is the end of a process that has taken many years of hard work to prepare, many years of hard reforms to converge, and many expectations to respond to. Bulgaria has been very close to Europe and to the euro area for many years because of the currency board that it has had for decades. But it means that as of January the 1st, Bulgaria will get the full benefit of being part of the euro area using the euro as its currency. I know, we all know, that there are Bulgarians who are concerned, who are apprehensive, who are fearful of the change. And I can assure you that it happens in every new member joining the euro area. There might be some activation of conspiracy-like theory about the euro, but the best response to that is what happens in real life, which is that after the country has exceeded the euro area, the support for the euro increases very quickly. At the moment, in the euro area, the support for the euro is at a historic high of 83%. 83% of Europeans value the euro, are attached to the euro as their currency. And Bulgaria will be joining this community, and it will enhance by its presence and its talent and its capacity to create, innovate, and transform the entire group of the euro area. So we're delighted to have this 21 member coming as of January the 1st. And personally, my dear Dimitri, I'm looking forward to you being a full-fledged member of the Governing Council, with the voice of Bulgaria and the vote of Bulgaria counting as much as the vote of any other member around the table, as high as any voice around the table. Doesn't matter whether you're a small country or a very large country, the voice is heard in the same way, and the vote counts just as much. So with that, I guess you have the floor.
Thank you. Madam President, first of all, thank you very much. It's a wonderful gift and a truly weighty one. I would like to say both literally and symbolically. It will have a special place in our museum, which tells the story of money through our ancient lines. So thank you very much indeed. Madam President, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for being here today. It's a great pleasure and honor once again in this format to welcome President Lagarde on her first visit to Bulgaria. Dear Christine, we're truly delighted to have you with us. You are among friends who deeply appreciate your leadership and your vision at the helm of the European Central Bank, especially in these times of profound economic and geopolitical uncertainty. Your visit comes at a particularly meaningful moment for Bulgaria. Our country is approaching the final stage of a journey toward membership in the euro area, a goal that has guided our national and institutional efforts for many years. This process has been driven by a clear strategic vision to strengthen the foundations of stability, deepen European integration, and achieve lasting convergence with our European partners. Bulgaria and the banking sector in particular has already reached a high degree of alignment with the euro area framework. Through our participation in ERM2 and our close cooperation with the ECB since 2020, we have effectively prepared our institutions, markets, and prices for the next step, formal entry into the euro area. This achievement reflects a long and disciplined effort supported by our partners across Europe, and in particular by the ECB. Dear Christine, we're deeply grateful for your continued support and for the professionalism and dedication of our ECB colleagues throughout this process. The forthcoming adoption of the euro will mark a truly historic milestone for Bulgaria. It will complete our economic and monetary integration with Europe, reinforce confidence in our financial system, and open new perspectives for growth and prosperity. At the same time, it will bring new responsibilities, responsibilities we are ready to assume with the same prudence and discipline that have guided us so far. Bulgaria's accession to the euro area is also an expression of our trust in and contribution to the European project, a project built on cooperation, solidarity, and shared responsibility. We firmly believe that a stronger and more integrated Europe benefits all its members, and we're committed to playing our part within that common framework. Your visit and today's discussion reaffirm our shared determination to complete this process in a way that strengthens both Bulgaria and the euro area as a whole. Dear President Lagarde, thank you once again for being here today and for the support and partnership of the institution you lead with such distinction. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Благодаря на госпожа Лагард.
Thank you, Madame Lagarde, and thank you to the Governor of the Bulgarian National Bank. Dear colleagues, you have the floor for questions. Questions shall be limited to only 15 minutes, as the press conference will conclude at 12:15. So do please stick to a time limit and do not take too much time with the questions. Bulgarian News Agency first. No, 15 minutes in total for the total of questions. Madame Lagarde.
For the opportunity. Madame Lagarde, in what regional and global economic background Bulgaria is joining the euro area, and how this will affect the transition period? And if I have the opportunity to ask Mr. Radev about his first thought about the draft budget bill that was presented yesterday, and if he sees some reforms in it about the fiscal consolidation.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for your question. You know, Bulgaria is joining at a time when it matters to be together, where it matters to be united, and where size, scope, scale actually matter. Bulgaria is joining at a time when there is more volatility, at a time when we have more shocks, one after the other, compounded, and at a time when the global order as we have known it is more fragmented, and when friends are probably fewer. So it's a time when it's important to close ranks and to be together. You might think that it's a difficult time, and it is, but it's a time that is propitious to standing united and standing together, because we are simply stronger together, as your national hero said. Shall you take the second part?
I'll take. I'm wondering, you probably know that there will be another press conference with the Minister of Finance in a few minutes. But no, I'm not trying. It's a good, relevant question, so I'm not trying to avoid the question. Let me start by saying that we've earned a reputation over the years for a fiscally responsible country. And this is demonstrated by one of the lowest debt to GDP ratios in Europe, and not only. However, since 2020, we have been gradually losing this disciplined fiscal stance. I've consistently emphasized that we need to reverse this trend. And we now face the same dilemma in the context of the 2026 budget. From a macroeconomic standpoint, the best approach would be to exercise tighter control over current expenditure and to prioritize public investment projects that support long-term growth. If there is no capacity to do so, the remaining options are higher taxes and higher debt. These are not good alternatives. They carry adverse macroeconomic but also political consequences, as recent experience in other European countries clearly shows. So in short, we need to return as soon as possible to the path of sound, disciplined fiscal policy, and the upcoming discussions for the 2026 budget will be indicative if there is political capacity to do it. Thank you.
I think for those who are not Bulgarian in the room, it's worth reminding a few of the indicators, because Bulgaria stands on a very strong set of fundamentals. When I look at my numbers, I have for 25, 3% growth, 3.4% inflation, 3.9% unemployment, 29.3% debt to GDP ratio, and 4% fiscal balances. So you Bulgaria stands on that really strong record that you have mentioned, Dimitri, and it should stay the course. It should really continue on that path and set standards.
You have the floor for further questions.
The Italian news agency ANSA, thanks for the floor. It's a very European issue, if I may, for Mrs. Lagarde. Do you consider that the stability of the Eurozone could be jeopardized by the idea of using the Russian frozen asset for the reparation loan to Ukraine, provided that it is not a confiscation, of course? Thank you.
Well, thank you for your non-Bulgarian question. I think the position of the ECB has always been clear, and it is obviously for the Commission on its proposal and for the European Council to decide such matters. But the position of the ECB has always been that whatever option is considered should be considered in compliance with international legal principles, because we do operate and we do abide by the rule of law, and we should not propose to stay away from that, and provided second that any issue relating to financial stability is properly addressed. That position is unchanged. Thank you.
You have the question. Irina Toneva, Bulgarian National Television. Madam Lagarde.
As you know, there are a lot of widespread threats about that after the 1st of January, all the prices will become higher and higher. What is the actual data containing the last countries that already got the euro? What is your idea about that, if this is going to happen or not? And Mr. Radev, tell me please, do we have enough euro banknotes in order to fulfill all those people that gonna want to have them just immediately after the New Year's Eve? And what about our bank system? Is it good enough to have the power to have all those people that want to have euro? Thank you.
Well, thank you for the first part of your question. The principle is quite simple. You take the current price in lev, you have the official convertibility rate, and you multiply that, and that gives you the price in euro. The principle of the transition is that there can be no variation, and that it has to be to the cent the same as the previous price. So 2 observations. One is, historically, it was the case with Croatia, it was the case with previous member states when they joined, because people understand these. They tend to increase prices a little bit before the convertibility. So in many ways, if prices are to change, it's probably priced in. It has happened. And second, there has to be vigilance on the part of government, on the part of the consumers, on the part of the investors, so that people don't cheat and actually respect the principle of convertibility. What we have observed in real life is that there is a small variation because of the rounding up and because some in the retail sector, in the trading system, tend to round up to the higher decimal. And as a result, the increase in prices, short-lived, generally it impacts for a period of 6 to 12 months, is of the magnitude that varies between 0.2 and 0.4. The variation between the two is often a factor of how high the inflation is at that moment. But that's what we have observed, and as I said in my remarks earlier, it tends to fade out over the course of time, and a lot is dependent on the people themselves, because they have to be vigilant and the authorities have to implement the principle and sanction those who do not respect it. Thank you.
Един кратък въпрос и кратък отговор. Прощавайте, господин.
Just a practical question. Try to be practical in my answer. We've ensured sufficient quantities of euro banknotes and coins will be available from the very first hours of the new year. The Bulgarian National Bank, in close cooperation with the ECB and the national central banks from the euro area, has very carefully organized the entire process of delivery and distribution. Do not also forget that throughout January, payments in leather will be accepted, ensuring a smooth and convenient transition. Also, card payments and electronic transactions will continue to operate seamlessly and will be made in euro from the very first day, making daily life easier during the changeover. And our banking system, which, as discussed, is strong, well capitalized, highly liquid, is fully prepared to meet the increased activity in the first days of the year and to ensure a confident start to Bulgaria's membership in the euro area. So in short, my advice to citizens is simple: stay calm and be practical. There is no need of over-preparation or any other kind of special preparation. So the central bank, the commercial banks are actually ready.
I think that was the final question, dear colleagues. Thank you very much for the participation. Thank you very much, Madam Lagarde. Thank you, Mr. Radev. And to Madam Lagarde, I hope you enjoy a glass of red wine on New Year's. Bulgarian wine, indeed.
To Bulgaria.
Имаме 2 минути.
Well, 5 minutes for photos for the photographers that will take photos of the gift
по нашата втора прес.
Dear colleagues, we're commencing our second press conference. It is a great pleasure and honor for me to welcome the Minister of Finance of the Republic of Bulgaria, Madam Timenushka Petkova, and Mr. Valdis Dombrovskis, who is the Commissioner for Economy and Productivity, Implementation and Simplification at the European Commission. Our press conference will take some 20 minutes, and I ask you, in asking questions, to present yourselves, the media you are from, and to limit yourself to one question so that we may have more media questions. Madam Petkova. Thank you very much. Hello and good day. Thank you for the interest to today's press conference. As you know, today, during the conference, we discussed a very important for Bulgaria event, notably the upcoming accession to the Euro area, starting January 2026. Together with our guests, Mr. Dombrovskis, Madam Lagarde, Madam Georgieva, Mr. Gramegna, Mr. Donahue, who joined us live from Dublin, we had the opportunity to discuss all matters of importance related to the path that Bulgaria has been along to reach this moment and to be at the doorstep of the Euro area. We united around the firm belief that entry into the Euro area is not an end goal in itself, but rather the beginning of a long path that we will walk along together with our partners in the Euro area. We spoke about the benefits of our membership to the Euro area, undoubted benefits. We also spoke about the fact that the Euro area means not only advantages and benefits, but also responsibility and accountability, and Bulgaria should continue its resilience in public finance and guaranteeing financial stability, and this commitment of ours remains unchanged for the future. In this regard, I would like to also outline the fact that just yesterday, the Ministry of Finance published on its webpage the first draft of our budget for 2026, the first budget for Bulgaria in euro. We're yet to have the debates and discussions on the draft of a budget, so we will yet speak on this. Thank you, Minister Petkova. Mr. Dombrovskis, you have the floor. Mr. Commissioner, you have the floor.
Madam Minister, honorable media representatives, good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure to be back in Sofia at this pivotal time. First of all, I would like to start by congratulating Bulgaria. In just less than 2 months from now, euro coins and banknotes will enter into circulation in Bulgaria. They mark a new era in your history, putting Bulgaria at the core of the European Union. This is a tremendous achievement and a fruit of hard work and discipline. Today we discussed how the euro area is stronger with Bulgaria's membership, and Bulgaria is stronger as a euro area member. The road to the euro has strengthened Bulgaria's institutions. To prepare for the euro, Bulgaria has enacted many reforms, and now you can build on these efforts to bring the country forward. But already now, benefits for Bulgaria and its citizens are numerous. Joining the euro removes uncertainty about future policy. This helps promote foreign and domestic investment, leading to higher economic growth and more jobs. Participation in the euro area will lower interest rates, bringing down borrowing costs, which will help make credit for businesses and households cheaper. But these are just a few examples. And euro is much more than just currency. It is a powerful symbol of European integration, economic stability, and geopolitical strengths. And this has never been more important. We should not lose sight of the bigger picture. Bulgaria joining the euro area must be seen against the backdrop of evolving nature of resilience in a multipolar and volatile world. We're aware that some Bulgarian citizens are worried about that joining euro area may result in higher prices. Let me provide a reassuring message. Strong historical data, including from the most recent changeover in Croatia, confirms that the impact on the changeover of the prices is very small. I can also speak from my own experience as a Latvian. We went through this process and how Latvia benefits from the euro area memberships, and that people of Latvia recognize these benefits. In the longer run, the euro brings more stable prices and increases the resilience of the economy in face of sudden shocks due to improved price transparency and increased competition. Looking beyond 1st of January 2026, maintaining fiscal discipline and sustaining the momentum for positive reforms will reinforce and amplify the benefits that membership of euro area provides. Reforms such as improving the business environment, functioning of public administration, and investing in skills are crucial for Bulgarian economy. And Europe is there to provide a helping hand with these efforts, providing policy advice, technical assistance, and most importantly, funding to achieve those objectives. Thank you once again, and welcome to the euro area.
You have the floor for questions, dear colleagues. Thank you to Commissioner Dombrovskis for his introductory remarks. I would like to ask you to raise your hands to be given the floor. Euro Commissioner Dombrovskis, BGNS, Georgi Pashkulev. I will ask my question in Bulgarian. You underlined that that the euro is a geopolitical strength and force, but what measures is the European Commission going to undertake in order to mitigate and lower its reliability on Chinese supply chains and raw earth elements, and how will we do it without a conflict with China? What do you intend to undertake? Sorry for this non-European question for Bulgaria. Thank you for your answer.
Yeah, indeed, it's probably not directly linked with questions related to Bulgaria's Euro accession, but indeed it's an issue European Union is right now facing with Chinese announcements of dramatically expanding the export controls on its rare earths, and also both broadening the scope, covering pretty much the entire value chain, and having quite far-reaching extraterritorial provisions. It's obviously a concern for this. So right now we are in close contact with Chinese authorities to address those issues in a short term, and there are some positive signals we are receiving from Chinese authorities in willingness to provide some, so to say, short-term respite from those measures. We are coordinating this also with other international partners which share the same concerns, notably in a framework of G7, but not only. And in a longer term, the question is about diversification, because the fact is that China is actually dominating the global supply chains, depending on which specific rare earths we are talking. It's 80, 90, more than 90% of global supplies are coming from China. So obviously we need to diversify those supplies, and that's why we have also our raw materials strategy, and we are accelerating its implementation. That's why we're entering in raw materials partnerships with various countries around the world. That's why we are coordinating this work with like-minded partners. So it's in a sense a multifaceted challenge which requires both short-term engagement but also looking in a long-term perspective how we achieve resilience of supplies through diversification.
Благодаря. Следващ въпрос.
Thank you. The next question, you have the floor, please. Svetlana Katanska, Bulgaria National Television. Mrs. Petkova, the European Central Bank, IMF, BNB said that we should go back to the fiscal discipline tradition. With the new bill for a budget, this doesn't happen. Really, when can we start with the reforms to harness the expenditure? And Mr. Dombrovskis, will the European Commission observe the steps of Bulgaria in terms of fiscal discipline? Thank you. Yes, thank you. As regards the bill for the budget in 2026, I mentioned already that it was published yesterday, late afternoon, on the website of the Ministry of Finance. The debates will happen from now on. Tomorrow, in the Tripartite Council, we are going to discuss with the social partners the aspects of the budget. As you know, this budget is based on the acting legislation. So everything that the legislation says is reflected in the bill for the state budget. Another very important element that I want to draw your attention to is that until August 2026, the plan for reconstruction and resilience will end. From 21 till 24, the governments then did nothing in order to absorb the funds in this plan. All the capital expenditure have been put on the budget of 2026, and they have to be performed by August, together with all reforms that go with them. So if we talk about expenditure in the budget, we can comment here what it says, but one of the largest items are the capital expenditures, and they are related to the implementation and the ambition of Bulgaria and the support we have from the European Commission to renegotiate the resilience, reconstruction resilience plan, to do everything until the end of 2026. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Dombrovskis.
Question. Well, first of all, it's worth noting that European Commission performs surveillance of fiscal and macroeconomic policies of all EU member states. We have now the new economic governance framework in place, under which all EU member states had to submit their medium-term fiscal structural plans with, so to say, committing their fiscal trajectories, and it's the case also for Bulgaria. And we will be providing this assessment of member states' fiscal performance in a context of European semester autumn cycle. So presumably it's now scheduled for 25th of November. So Minister Petkova also informed me, we had a discussion already yesterday, that Bulgaria has now published a draft budgetary plan for 2026, and well, we welcome the intention in both this year and next year not to exceed the threshold of 3% of GDP as regards budget deficit. It's also worth noting that right now we are also providing some more fiscal flexibility for EU member states to increase defense expenditure. So we provide possibility for member states use so-called national escape clause, and Bulgaria is among countries using this national escape clause, which allows for a period of 4 years, starting this year, member states to deviate from their fiscal trajectories by up to 1.5% of GDP if it is linked with an increase of defense expenditure. So it's another, so to say, margin of maneuver which member states have right now.
And the last question, dear colleagues. Yes.
This conference, Giovanna Fagionato for Politico. Commissioner, conspiracy theories and concern have been mentioned. I would like, and you also stress the fact that the adoption of the euro is also a geopolitical step. So I would like to know what are your thoughts about the role played by Russia in disinformation campaigns and generally inside of the adoption of the euro? And I would like also to understand if you think that we need that a new campaign on the digital euro is needed, and if the Commission can do something to combat this disinformation. And for the Minister, I know that many observers say that the government launched the information campaign late, so I would like to understand if you have an answer on that. And on a funnier note, I know that the 1st of January will be holiday in Bulgaria. I would like to understand why. Probably I don't think it's to celebrate Christine Lagarde's birthday, but I would like to have an answer on that.
Yes, so as regards first question, it's not a secret that Russia is waging a hybrid war against European Union and European Union member states, and we see it in many different ways, with provocations, with acts of sabotage, with violation of European airspace, with meddling in political processes in European Union, also in other European countries, in spreading disinformation. So obviously we need to be kind of clear about this and also decisively counter all this action. And in European Commission, we, in this context, also adopted what we call a defense of democracy package, actually to show how to counter all those threats and malign actions Russia is performing. When we are discussing the question of a digital euro, well, on the digital euro, the work is underway. Right now, we, well, as European Commission, we have put forward a proposal for a digital euro already some 2 years ago. And right now, co-legislators, EU member states in the Council and European Parliament are working on this legislative proposal. Also, European Central Bank just recently announced, actually last week, that they are now moving to the next stage of preparations for digital euro. So this work is advancing. And obviously, there are also some concerns and some misconceptions concerning the digital euro. First, that digital euro was there to replace cash, and there I can say very clearly this is wrong. Digital euro is there to complement cash, and to make this point very clear, in parallel with our proposal for digital euro, we put forward a proposal for legal tender status of cash, actually reinforcing the legal status of cash and obliging euro area member states to ensure sufficient availability of cash and sufficient acceptance of cash so that it can fulfill its legal tender status. And second concerns privacy, and this is something which we had very much in mind already when putting forward our proposal. It comes with a strong privacy safeguards. In a sense, European Central Bank will see less information about citizens doing those transactions than, for example, commercial banks or the international card schemes have right now. So, and also, as a digital euro will come with offline functionality for payments, proximity payments, which can be done without internet connection, and these will offer even higher level of privacy, almost like cash-like level of privacy. So I think those are two important elements to emphasize when discussing the digital euro project.
Що се отнася до вашият въпрос.
As regard your question regarding the information campaign, awareness campaign of the government and BNB, let me tell you that Bulgaria and the government of Bulgaria have been working on the information campaign for introducing the euro for a long time. We went a long way. We approved communication plan, and everything that happens as a communication information campaign is based on the previous stages and goals that are part of this communication plan. I'm happy to tell you that at this stage, both the government and BNB are organizing hundreds of events, information events, with the focus to give the Bulgarian society topical, current, and reliable information in order to to overcome the doubts that anti-European political parties have been trying to do. More than 51% now support the euro, which is a very good improvement. Bulgarian businesses are categorical that introducing the euro is of key importance, and it will have only positive impacts on the Bulgarian economy and its competitiveness and on the Bulgarian citizens. As regards the 1st of January, the date, of course, this is a holiday. But we are working also after the 1st of January, the holiday. Our information campaign will go on because Bulgarian society, we have the goal to be informed to the maximum and to the best correct possible, to the best possible correct in the best and correct way for this historical moment for the history of Bulgaria. Thank you, Minister Petkova and Commissioner Dombrovskis. This was the last question. I would like to thank the foreign colleagues for the interest in this event. It is part of the campaign. It is broadcast live on the national television, and it is streamed in the social media in both English and Bulgarian. Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of the day.
Thank you.